Hello and welcome to this new program that we are starting. It's an interview-based program called Goa Wants to Know. And for the first episode, we have a very distinguished old friend and the man of the moment as far as the Congress is concerned, the GPCC President Girish Chodankar. Girish Bab, welcome, a very warm welcome to our studios. Thank you for being here. So obviously there are about 40 days to go for the elections and all the parties are gearing up, but you seem to be losing quite a few people to other parties. Why is that happening?
See, they must understand one thing, that Goa's ideology and the Congress ideology is similar, is one. And Congress suits that Goa's ideology. And so, by and large, people vote for Congress. BJP realized this, that they can't defeat Congress directly. And obviously, they have tested various methods, Mission Salset, all that failed. Now, they have brought their 1B team. They couldn't bring much changes. Last time, they could stop us from crossing 21. Because of that party, we lost 2-3 seats. So this time also they were banking on them, but they realized that they can't do anything. They brought another party from Bengal.
Oh, so you're saying that the BJP has brought the TMC in?
It's not I am saying, everyone in Goa knows about it. It's not big secret.
Surprisingly, the issue is that if you're saying everybody in Goa knows about it, I haven't heard about this at all. And if that was the case, do you think that the BJP would have suffered such a resounding defeat at the hands of the TMC in Bengal? They were completely wiped out. And the entire strength of the BJP did all they could in Bengal. They got all their top leaders in. Modi went and chanted Didi O Didi all over the place. So the issue is, if there is only my point is, if you look at the Bengal elections and what the TMC did to the BJP there, this theory doesn't appear to fit as far as Goa is concerned. But anyway, let's look at some people who moved away from your party. Look at Ravi Naik. He joined the BJP. If you look at Pratap Singh Rane, of course, he's a very senior leader. He happens to be with the Congress, but only recently we saw Devendra Fadnavis, Satish Dhond and Sadanand Shet Tanawade going and meeting him. Though he did say that he's not leaving the party, there are huge indications that because of his son, he may or may not. The point that I'm trying to make is that as far as the Congress is concerned, of course you lost people, but you also seem to have the confidence. You feel that there are a large number of people who feel that there is a traditional Congress vote and that will always stand by. But when these kind of losses are happening, does it also reflect on the fact that there could be some introspection that you need to do in terms of the party organization, party structure? There could have been certain things that could have been put into place in your tenure as the Congress president. Do you also feel that there are certain areas where you could have improved, or maybe you could have put some systems in place which may have checked it?
First, let me correct you. As far as Ravi Naik is concerned, the day his children joined BJP, we publicly disowned him. Thereafter, we didn't involve him anywhere, nor we called him for meetings. Even when our senior leader from Delhi, Rahul Gandhi, came to Goa, we didn't invite him. And we were pretty sure that we don't need the leaders who are with both the parties. We were pretty clear on that. We want leaders who are firmly with the party. So not whose one leg is in BJP and another leg is in Congress. We said we don't need such type of this. We are changing.
What about Digambar Kamath?
We are making Digambar Kamath very firmly in the Congress, and BJP has been from time to time they are spreading these rumors. They are actually manufacturing these rumors to create a doubts in the minds of people that Digambar Kamath is leaving, Digambar is leaving. Who is spreading this? It's only BJP people are spreading it. So as far as Rane is concerned, of course, any leader are free to meet anybody. So somebody has come to his house to visit. Rani is such a tall leader with such a good stature, never ditched to Congress anytime. Last 45 years is in Congress, in good times, bad times. But somebody who just walks into his house, it does not mean that he joins him. So we condemn that the attitude and the way he projected. The Fadnavis is supposed to be a former chief minister. When he made this statement, he has lowered himself his image. Now, on another point that you are trying to defend TMC, that
No,
TMC.
I'm only asking you to.
No, you have defended
I'm
TMC.
no, I'm not
that what
defending.
TMC has done in Calcutta.
All I'm essentially saying is look at the Bengal election, and if you look at the Bengal election, and in spite of BJP's best efforts, the TMC routed the BJP. Okay, my issue that if you take that into account, why would the BJP try to do any truck with a party which is getting to be the principal challenger of the BJP anyway? And the point here is that if you look at the Bengal election, the BJP tried its best. They were not only defeated, they were routed. It's a fact.
See, Bengal elections in Bengal is perfect. But Goa cannot be Bengal.
So you're saying,
So
you're saying that after the BJP got resoundingly defeated by the TMC in Bengal, they went and did a deal with the TMC to win in Goa. Is that your logic?
Mr. Sujay, don't underestimate the manipulative power of Amit Shah. You don't know what they are up to. It's a 24 hours political machine.
Okay. So
You cannot underestimate Amit Shah,
Oh, I see.
who is also the in charge of enforcement director. So you don't know with whom they will play, when they will play. You will not even realize.
Okay. So
And mind it, the people of Goa, Mr. Nehru has said, Ajib hai Goa ke log.
right.
So if Goans don't fall prey to anything, the Goans have time and again has proved it. So Goans think wisely. Now Goans have decided that they want to defeat BJP this time.
Right.
And if BJP is trying to bring one political party from Delhi, another political party from Calcutta to divide the anti-BJP votes, they will never succeed it.
Okay.
The
What is
Goans
interesting?
are very
What is
smart.
interesting, dear viewers, is that on one hand, the TMC gives BJP its worst ever defeat, but Girish also feels that shortly after that, the BJP is manipulating the TMC into helping them to win in Goa. That can be a theory. We respect the theory, but that is exactly what it is. Take it with a pinch of salt or believe it completely. It could be true, it cannot be true, but we leave it to everybody else's political judgment to figure this out. However,
No, but I will just add one more thing. Now, if they have come, as per your theory, if they have come here to Goa to defeat BJP, then they should have taken a lot of BJP leaders. They have approached and poached BJP leaders. But leaving that, one who is fighting with BJP, the Congress, they are only approaching and offers not just thousands, but lakhs and crores of rupees to most of the Congress leaders to join them. This is not the way to fight BJP.
So you're saying that they are getting lakhs and crores of rupees, and all your Congress people are taking lakhs and crores of rupees, accepting the bribe money and joining other parties.
Many of them,
That's exactly what you're saying.
Many of them have joined. They have told us also.
Oh, okay,
Many of them said we are waiting. Otherwise, they will leave them.
Okay.
Already some people left them
Okay.
because of the.
What about, okay, then that's a very interesting observation. So what would you say of your huge defections that took place from the Congress? My point is that why is Congress becoming the party that everybody leaves? You see, as soon as the government was about to be formed in 2017, you had Vishwajit Rane quitting the party within half an hour of becoming an MLA. You had Dayanand Sopte leaving. You had Subhash Shirodkar leaving. Then you had 10 MLAs leaving en bloc. What did the party do then? My point is that when 10 people leave, what did the party do? All happened under your leadership. So my point is, you can't be saying that you being the president, from 17 the party has been reduced to 3 MLAs and there are mass scale defections. You cannot put it down to saying that, look, I'm a sitting duck, everybody is coming and taking my MLAs and going away, I can do nothing. Is that your approach?
See, if you recall 2000, when Mr. Luisin Falero was the chief minister, we have 2 lots. People have left us in 2 lots. The first lot of 10, when Mr. Luisin Falero was the chief minister, 10 MLAs defected. After 10 MLAs, another lot of 6-7 MLAs. When Luisin Falero
He was not the chief minister.
See, correct your history if I am not wrong. Luisin Falero was the chief minister. Sardin was the
I'm talking of
minister.
I'm talking of 2017. I'm not talking of earlier.
I'm telling you the history. You should also know the history if you want to talk about this. So we were reduced to 4 MLAs because second lot revolted and defected under the leadership of Ravi Naik when he was the CLP leader. So it's not that the first time that has happened in Goa, for your information, that is happened. I was the Youth Congress president, Luisin was the party president at that time. As a chief minister, these 10 MLAs defected twice. The first time, same thing happened second time, as a chief minister. Right now, I was not a chief minister of Goa, I was the party president, but we rebuilt the party by going back to the people. Now, your friend Mamata Banerjee, in the run-up to this assembly elections, many of her top leaders went and joined BJP. But after the elections, many of them came and joined back.
No, it all depends on how many
this
people.
kind of politics.
No, but are you saying that when the Congress is reduced from 17 to 2, are you justifying this?
I'm not justifying, but it's not a first time. When Luisin was the chief minister, we had 24 MLAs.
Okay,
It came down to 4 MLAs.
Okay, it may be the fourth time, it may be the fifth time, it may be the sixth time.
When Luisin Falero could not control Goa's MLA, when he was the chief minister of the state. Chief minister means you have a power. When as a party president, you don't have that power because the ruling party defect you. But the opposition BJP broke his MLAs when he was the chief minister of the state.
Okay.
When we had 24 MLAs.
My
he couldn't control it.
Yeah, but
time.
even
I'm not justifying this. But first time
you're only saying
we have taken a very bold decision.
You're only saying history repeats itself and it happened under your leadership as well. That's exactly what you're saying.
It is whether it's my leadership or somebody else's leadership. But first time we took a bold stand.
What was it?
Bold stand is the defectors who have gone will never be readmitted into party and give the nomination. This type of step never taken in the past. Nobody was believing us. When everyone left, everyone has written us off. That now Congress is over. But we rebuild the party with the confidence and the trust. We have taken up each and every issue of the common men, of Goans that was hurting them. It was only the Congress party. TMC was nowhere in the picture. Other parties were nowhere in the pictures.
But the point
after winning that, many people started joining. Every day people joined. Now those who are leaving, we are saying leaving, they couldn't get. Even after the tall Mr. Luisin Falero joining, they couldn't do much. But it took 2 months. But now they are taking small
How many people,
leaders.
okay, in the last 3 to 4 months, how many people have joined the Congress? People are leaving the Congress. But if the Congress was so attractive, how many people have joined the Congress?
See, over last, if you see 1.5 years, in every constituency practically, large number of people.
Do you have data?
No, right now I can't give you data. I can definitely give you data, but definitely it's large number of people only join Congress party.
See, there used to be some data. If you look at the number,
I don't have data right now.
I understand that.
I can provide you data.
Okay.
If you have to give me questions, I will have come prepared.
Okay, fine. No, that's fine. At some point of time, we would like to need data on how many people have joined, because as of now, if we just scan the newspapers on a day-to-day basis, there are more departures than arrivals.
Many people leave in many parties because those who are greedy and are joining only for the sake of ticket. Now, who are joining TMC? The people who are joining TMC is not out of love for TMC. Those who are joining, they see the money in there and they see that they will contest the ticket.
It is slowly bleeding and losing leadership, and I've still not had any convincing answer as to why that is happening, because the people are not finding it attractive enough to stick to the Congress. It's as clear as that. My issue is that the holding power needs to be there. Now, my thing is this, that you need 40 people to contest elections now, okay? What are the issues that you are taking to the people right now to tell the people that, look, the Congress is here as the party of the people? So let's discuss that.
See, we have already started preparing the manifesto in consultation with the people of Goa. We had several consultation our leader Mr. Khalap and another leader Mr. Elvis. They have been in the job, and we were taking the issues which were very close to the heart of the people. The 3 linear projects on which all the other parties are silent. Congress is the only one who has announced it.
But who brought coal into Goa? It was during Digambar Kamat's chief ministership.
No, you check your records.
No, I've checked my records. My
It was-
issue is that when Digambar Kamat was the chief minister,
No, you check the records.
The renewal of the deal or the contract with the Adanis and the Jindals was done. So, and the Goa Pollution Control Board had given its NOC at that point of time. So my issue is that I'm not saying that the Congress may not be serious about not bringing in coal or whatever. Its interest may be genuine. It may believe that coal is bad for Goa. I'm not denying it. But the fact remains is that during Mr. Digambar Kamat's chief ministership, why was it renewed?
No. If you produce me documents, I would have answered. One is that pollution board was not coming under the state government. They are not
The
answerable.
Goa Pollution
They are
Control
not
Board, for
state
all
board.
practical purposes,
No.
comes directly under the state government because
No.
the environment.
No, if you are asking,
See,
raising this question,
the environment
you should
minister,
have.
the environment minister is de facto in charge of the Goa Pollution Control Board. There is no denying that. My issue: the Goa Pollution Control Board is not an autonomous body.
See, if you had to raise this, if you had to produce me documents now, papers, I would have responded it very well. You didn't tell me, I didn't bring the record, but you knowing that you are raising this question, so if you could have brought some papers to show me what you are claiming.
But
right now you don't have papers, so I can't respond.
But these papers are there in the
No,
public
but
domain.
you could have, since we are in a
issues-
debate, we should have, but one,
Yes.
in Goa, Congress is the only party who has joined this movement, who is protesting against this movement on all 3 linear projects. None other party, including the party which is brought by the BJP to split anti-BJP votes, they also couldn't announce that they are against this. So none of the party are opposing this.
Why under their government these contracts with the people who are bringing in coal were renewed or not? That needs to be clear. That is also-
Moment you give me the document,
Sure.
call me for your debate again.
Correct. I'll do that.
I'll
do
be
that.
happy to debate you on this
I'll do
issue.
that. Okay, fine. Okay, moving on. The issue is let us look at apart from these three projects. What else are you trying to put on your manifesto apart from the three?
Yeah. So we have number of issues. One is that river nationalization is a very important issue. Madhai is another important issue. The 16B, where the land conversion issue is there, where it's very close to the heart of the people. So that is also a very important issue. Then we have this to protect the coast and the entire the environment. The financial position of the state has gone from bad to worst. When we came in the office, it was around 7,000 crores. Today, it's stand up to 26,000 crores. The employment is another issue. So, employment generation, you have to do it because you can't depend on the government jobs. So,
Right.
we have to create employment opportunity. So, all those issues which people of Goa are raising, the land, how to protect and preserve our land and how to protect our identity.
Right.
It is another issue that is before us. So then we need a strong Lokayukta. BJP had promised, but BJP has made it toothless. So we have to make our Lokayukta very
Especially the
strong.
Lokayukta, I totally agree. It needs to be a very, very important issue. Everybody should do this. Lokayukta needs much more teeth. I agree with you on this. Okay. Then what else?
So then how to put more money into the pockets of the people rather than offering the goodies to attract the votes. We want to have a permanent solution. We don't want to make our people like beggars, offering them some this by offering this and that. No, our people should be self-reliant. They should, because they are all want to work and earn. We have to provide them opportunity.
Right.
So our task is, instead of giving them this free, that free, we have to increase their earning capacity. We have to see the policies and the programs through which we put decent money in their pockets as their earnings. Not that we make this free. Goans are not asking to give water free, electricity free, that free. What Goan wants is pollution free. We are giving them pollution free. What they want to earn, they want to work hard. Provide them job opportunity, provide them appointment. They will not come and ask you this. They want free environment in Goa. Give them. But these political parties are in the competition. Who is offering 5,000, another saying 3,000, another saying 4,000. So what is this? This is Goa never asked for.
Right.
And Goa is struggling to maintain its identity. And Goans have decided decisively to defeat BJP in the party. Irrespective whether they bring the party from Delhi or another party from Bengal, wherever they bring. But people are convinced and their conviction is so strong that they will defeat BJP and they feel Congress is the only option.
We just hope more of your leaders don't move to the BJP at the rate that they are moving. So let's look at that as well. Anyway, coming to mining. On the 7th of February 2018, there was a judgment of the Supreme Court which cancelled the renewal of all the 88 mining leases. There they very specifically spoke about the recovery of the mining loot. Okay. If you look at the earlier judgment that came into the famous mining judgment of 2012, Writ Petition 435/1, they also spoke about a 35,000 crore mining loot. The period under investigation was during Digambar Kamat's government, 27 to 2012. I'm not saying that government was alone responsible for the entire issue, but there was a BJP government before that, and then came the Digambar Kamat's government. The point is that why has the Congress not gone on an overdrive telling the people of Goa that we need to recover this mining loot? Because at the end of the day, if this mining loot is recovered, then the people will get back their money. There'll be money in the hands of people, and you cannot start any sustainable mining unless the economy is strengthened. And the only way it can be done is to recover the mining loot. Why has the Congress not said that recovering the mining loot is very critical? Is it because the Congress is hand in glove with several mining companies?
Okay. So first, let me update your information. Congress party has time and again had challenged this government publicly recover that 35,000 mining loot, 35,000 crores.
But I don't see enough of that in evidence. When the issue.
Once this, if you just go on Google right now, you can Google it and just ask type 35,000 crores mining loot demands Congress. You will get lot of our material there immediately. I don't give you to provide you documents. I have challenged the government completely, saying that you have national agencies,
right?
You have state government agencies. It's a BJP who has claimed that there is a loot of 35,000 crores rupees.
Not the BJP. The Supreme Court has said
One minute. Let me complete. So this 35,000 crores was said by Manohar Parrikar first. Then there was so-called PAC report, the non-existence PAC report.
35,000 crores was that figure was calculated by the Shah Commission report.
I'm coming to
PAC
that.
report.
I'm coming to that.
And the Supreme Court endorsed it.
You give me the space.
Yes, please.
I know your this thing to recover that money. Same, I'm also eagerly waiting for that 35,000 crores.
Good to know.
You will be happy, I'll be happy,
Correct.
Goans will be happy.
Yes.
So on that 35,000 crores, we have time and again challenged this government. Recover that 35,000 crores. Book all those. We are with you and we are giving open challenge. Now, for your information and your update, there was one RTI put by one Mr. Radu Gauss from Sakri somewhere constituency, Chief Minister's own constituency.
Okay.
About all this blah blah 35,000 crores, and they have put it to the Prime Minister's office. Now this figure has come from Parrikar, that 35,000 crores. Then he said it is 3,500 crores, and there was blah 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 on that. All right, and they were blaming Digambar Kamat and the Congress government for that, as you rightly pointed out. When I read that RTI reply from the Prime Minister's office, then they have directed it to the Director of Mines. I was shocked to see that they say there was an error in that assessment, and it is hardly 0 point something hectares, and the total recovery is not even 1,000 or something, some
Girish,
crores.
if that is the case, I'll just hold you there. If that is the case, the government of Goa itself has told the Supreme Court, and I have this on record, that if you look at the CAG audits report, plus the initial assessment of the loss only due to the renewal of the 88 mining leases, the total amount comes to 3,500 crores only on this account. We are not even talking of the total overall. Only on this, the amount of loss calculated by the government only due to the renewal of these 88 mining leases is 3,500 crores. This is what they told the court. Post which they have issued recovery notices of about 300 odd crores to different mining companies, of which only about 100 crores have been recovered. So my issue is that the government of Goa itself has told the court that only on the account of the renewal of only 88 mining leases, the total recovery is about 3,500 crores. My point is, so it is certainly not 100 crores, 200 crores or 1,000 crores. That's the point one. Point two, the figure of 35,000 crores has been mentioned by the Supreme Court on the basis of the Shah Commission report. This is not any Prime Minister's office or anybody else. And this amount has not been kind of challenged, or nor has any court. My point is, if you take the figure of 35,000 crores out of the way, let us...
No, I'll be happy. If that 35,000 crores recovery is done, I will join you.
I'm saying no.
On any this thing, I will sign any document.
Since you are saying that 35,000 crores...
35,000 crores has to be recovered.
No, but
it is there.
No, Girish, but you yourself is saying that 35,000 crore figure may not be completely correct.
We got the RTI figure.
Let us.
And that is from the Prime Minister's office, and we didn't file it.
But the point is, if that is the case, then the government itself wouldn't have issued a recovery notice or told the court that 3,500 crores needs to be recovered. So I'm going by what the Goa government itself has admitted and the notices that they have actually given to mining companies. Out of the 3,500 crores also, they completely forgot 110 and issued notices of only 300 crores. So anyway, my point is this, that when this amount of money is there, it happened during the time of the Congress government from 2007 to 12. Don't you feel that the Congress should be at least accountable for that period of these losses? I mean, there's no denying that it happened during that peak period. So I'm just saying that there should be some introspection there.
If you give me one authentic document that there is a loot of 35,000 crores during Congress tenure, authentic document if you give me.
Can there be a more authentic document than the Supreme Court judgment? Can there be a more authentic? Okay, if you take 35,000 crores out, you cannot challenge. You cannot challenge the 3,500 crores, which the state government itself has told the court.
See, I have nothing to do with mining companies.
I know that.
I have nothing to do with whether it's 35,000 crores, 3,500 crores, or 350 crores. I am on record, time and again, challenging the Chief Minister and challenging the Prime Minister of this country, because it is their party who has painted our party and our government with 35,000 crores.
Do you agree?
Either you recover that 35,000 crores or ask for the apology. These two things we have challenged the government.
No, but the issue is that
there be some document authentic. I have one document.
As far as, see, there are two.
I will join you wherever you want. I will join you.
Girish, there are two.
This is my challenge to you also.
There are two.
Get me the document. I will with
Girish, you don't need any other document when you have a Supreme Court judgment lying in front of you.
You get me the
so on the Supreme Court judgment is a public document.
You get me the document.
Girish, the Supreme Court judgment is a public document.
See, by now.
Number one. Number two.
By now, if that 35,000 crores issue was there, they would have put Digambar Kamath in the jail. Because they are desperately moving against Digambar Kamath.
So my
challenge still to the local BJP
do you agree? Okay.
And central
Are you saying, okay, do you agree that between 2012, 7 and 12, illegal mining happened in Goa?
See, whether there is a illegal mining happened, not happened.
Straight question.
Hold on.
Straight question. Supreme Court has said illegal mining has happened in Goa. Not one judgment, two judgments. Very clear-cut indication of the government of the day, where they've clearly said that the government of the day overlooked and was hand in glove with the forces that were doing illegal mining. 435 by 1 writ petition judgment, followed by the February 2018 judgment when the renewal of leases came. The first paragraph of that judgment which completely spoke about the complicity of the state government in assisting illegal mining. This is between the period of 2007 to 2012. During that period, there is no denying the fact, and you don't need proof to say that the Congress government was in power at that point of time. My issue is that illegal mining during that point of time has been completely specified by two Supreme Court judgments. Do you agree that illegal mining happened in 2012?
See, it's not a question whether I agree or you agree. It's not a question of whether I agree
No, I'm
or
asking
you
you.
agree on that.
I'm asking you.
I'm saying if there was illegal mining, if there was some culprits.
You still have a doubt whether there was illegal mining.
No, if it is there.
You're
if
still
you
saying
say-
it's if.
Yes, let's punish them. Punish
Correct.
them who are involved in that illegally. We are
Correct.
not here to protect anybody.
Correct.
You punish
Now-
all those who are involved,
Okay.
and through your medium, I also again demand with the local BJP government and central government, punish them.
According to you,
And I can say that the TMC now has a good relation with the Prime Minister. They should also use their good office with the Prime Minister. You book them in Goa.
Girish,
Book them in Goa.
Anyway, if this
whoever
was-
is involved, book them.
Girish, if this was a comedy show, people would have laughed. But this is not a comedy show.
No,
I am saying that
no,
between
see-
2000 and okay.
See,
Now
the-
one more question. Between 2007 to 12, do you still say if there was illegal mining, or are you saying there was illegal mining?
See, I'm not defending anything. I'm not.
Okay, let's
also
ask you a straight
denying
question.
anything.
Between 7 and
Whether
12,
that-
was there illegal mining or not illegal
If
mining?
there
Tell me
was,
this.
if there was illegal mining, I'm
If,
very clear
still
on
if.
that. I'm very clear on that.
Then
Because I have don't have those documents that you have. Okay.
Supreme Court judgments.
Let's sit after.
Supreme Court judgments.
See, the Supreme Court judgment came thereafter. I have the RTI. That comes.
Supreme Court.
That is
Supreme Court-
issued.
Supreme
That is
Court-
issued by.
If that was the case, then that RTI should have been set.
So
back
what
to
is the
Supreme Court.
order of that Supreme Court? Tell me.
So, 435(1), they narrated the details of the loot. They said all mining should stop unless sustainable mining is there in place. Very clear. And this money has to be recovered. Order of the Supreme Court, point number 1. When the 88 leases were renewed totally against the law, the Supreme Court came down heavily on it and spoke about the complicity of the government. But at that point of time, that complicity was for the BJP government.
Okay.
So, because that renewal was not done by the Congress government. Congress government was 27 to 2012, because they were in power. The renewal of the leases were done by the BJP government. So, the second judgment pointed fingers at the BJP government. The first judgment pointed fingers at the Congress government. The judgments went against both the governments. There also they said that we need recovery of this. The total quantum of loss due to the renewal of the 88 mining leases has to be done. The quantum of loss was done by an expert committee along with the CAG report. The government then went to the court and saying, look, we have done the quantum of loss, expert committee has gone into it, the CAG has gone into it, the total amount is 3,500 crores. I am saying you look at 3,500 crores only. The point here is that the fact that illegal mining happened is beyond doubt.
So if there is a illegal, I'm still saying, if there was illegal mining that time, please book all those involved in that illegal mining, recover that whatever money is there, whatever as you are claiming, recover that.
Again, I am not claiming. The Supreme Court.
See, I have the documents. I've read that document. I have to read this because mining is not my specialized subject. I never got into the mining details. I don't understand. I will be very frank. But I read one document, which the letter RTI was put in the Prime Minister's grievance department. It was sent to the department. If this government or officers are lying that there was no scam of 35,000 crores, then we should also sue those officers who are saying that 35,000 crores mining scam never happened. If that document is issued by any government officer, that officer should be punished. That needs to be punished.
There are two Supreme Court judgments based on expert
I'm
committees.
saying
Your
same
final word is that recovery should happen, and
all those who are involved,
Fine.
even if some politicians are involved, even some people from our party is involved, punish them.
Right, okay.
We are not here to defend anybody.
Sure. Okay. Moving on. Okay. The next point here is as far as the coming elections is concerned. As far as your party organization structure, everything is concerned. If you recall, before these elections, you had put in your papers. You had resigned. I think not once but twice. What made you decide to resign from the party?
What made you decide?
What made you decide to resign from the party? Why did you decide to resign from the party?
Okay. My first resignation was when our leader Rahul Gandhi resigned, owing the moral responsibility. So I felt that it is a collective responsibility of everyone, all those who are in the party office. And so, although in Goa we fared very well, both the seats we did not have.
Right.
So I had only 1 year before the elections. So we won one seat. Second seat, I had to go to North Goa and contest that seat from North Goa. There also we got a.
Just one quick point while you answering, just I remembered something I was asking. See, when you went to North Goa at that point of time, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, if I remember correctly, I think both Jitendra Deshprabhu, the late Jitendra Deshprabhu ji, and Ramakant Khalab had both applied for a ticket. Why were they rejected and why did you decide to contest? I mean, was it the party's choice? Why were those applications not considered?
Okay. So as far as Ramakant Khalab is concerned, so he came and expressed to us, all the leaders, that thereafter by-election in the Mandre was declared.
Okay.
So he said that he prefers to be in Mandre.
Contesting the by-election.
By-election.
Okay.
It was the same time.
Okay.
He expressed and told all leaders. So then we did not have a candidate. So I went and approached as a party president. We needed somebody strong in the North Goa to contest. Although we know that it's very difficult seat to win, but we have to give a good fight. And if there is a good candidate, we have chance to win. So I went and approached Nirmala Sawant, offered her that she should join contest North Goa. She denied it. Then I went and approached senior Mr. Rani, requested him that he could contest. Delhi was also ready. He denied. Then there was also support coming up for his wife, who was already in the social field, Mrs. Rani. So in front of Mr. Rani, we offered. I went to personally house.
Okay.
I asked her to contest because we don't have a strong candidate, and with them coming Sattari, and we could have won that seat. But she did not refuse. But Mr. Rani insisted that she should not contest. And so the party has asked me, although I had a lot of requests from the south to contest from south, and my name was also recommended by the district committee. So my party said, you have to contest. So I have refused initially. Even in the screening committee, I have refused. Even in the PEC, I refused. But when it comes Delhi, so no, he said, you have to contest as a party because we have to fight.
So you're saying both Mr. Ramakant Khalab and Mr. Pratap Singh Rane and Mrs. Rane did not contest or did not want to contest?
And Srimati Nirmala Sawant.
Did not want to contest?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I had to
Jitendra
contest.
Deshprabhu was the only person who was...
Yeah. But there I don't know what was the reason.
Okay.
His name. But in that elections, Goa performed very well. We were up by 7%.
Right.
And BJP was down by 2.2%, although it was claimed to be a Modi tsunami. And in spite of that, even in North Goa, our vote share rise. We got something around 1,65,000, which we never got.
Right. And so you were saying that
because of that, I resigned.
I see.
Initially.
Okay.
Second time I resigned after that Jilla Panchayat results. There was this, Mr. Sardin raised this issue. So on the taking moral responsibility, I have put down my papers.
So why did you all do so badly in the Zilla Parishad election?
Yeah, that's a good question that you posed. See, Jilla Panchayat election, the first time the party took a decision. It was a strategic shift from the leader-centric organization to cadre-centric organization. See, Mr. Falero was a CLP member and some MLAs, Ravi Naik and all, they were against contesting Jilla Panchayat election on party symbol.
Okay.
The reason was that they have to work in their own constituency and they have to work for that Jilla Panchayat candidate. So they don't want to antagonize others. So I am from organization person. I am not here because of to please the leaders.
So what was your point of view?
My point of view is all our second line leaders, they throughout work for the leaders to get for the assembly elections. Now just to make leaders happy, we don't contest on symbol. When election means all the parties should contest the elections on symbol.
Right.
That is the basic funda.
Right, right.
Delhi leadership also said we have to contest on party symbol. So CLP was against contesting on party symbol. Party organization wanted that when we will give the opportunity to our second line, third line leaders to contest, and when the senior leaders will work for them, every time our second line leaders have to work for the senior leaders. So it is a shift, strategic shift, that let's build a party organization, second line leadership.
So there were two opinions.
There were two opinions,
right.
but organization overruled the CLP and took a decision
to fight on a party.
contest.
Okay.
The second, we till that election was held on 23rd of March as per the schedule. Then we had a better chance to win because our cadre was charged. They delayed the election to 9 months, or for candidates to sustain the election, especially from the opposition, with a minimum financial resources. It was very, very difficult, and BJP, using their government, they promoted their candidates throughout. During that pandemic time, many of our voters couldn't come out for the voting, and that is where we actually got less votes.
But BJP voters came out.
BJP voters came out
Okay.
because of the several other reasons, and that is the time where we lost. Now, still we have first time in the history of Congress, we have 4 ZP members on symbol. In 2016 ZP elections, we don't have, because we never contested, so there is no question of losing.
Right.
We never contested municipal elections in the past. And when we had our government, we had won ZP, we had won municipal elections.
Right.
But 2016 election, we couldn't win. But in 2017, we won maximum number of assembly seats.
So you were saying that you quit because of the Zilla Parishad.
Zilla Parishad and Sardina raised this issue. I said I should take, because I am here just not to occupy the position, and I work on the certain principles.
But you continued nevertheless because the party did not accept the resignation.
I said till party replaces me, I should continue, because I am not a person who will run away from the responsibilities.
Okay. Because then of course they kept it pending till they again reconfirmed the opposition and did that. Okay. But why do you feel that alternate leadership has not been able to take charge? Because if you, very rightly so, you took a moral stand and you quit. But are you saying that there is no good second rung of leadership to choose from? Why couldn't the party pick another president?
See, there are ample number of capable leaders better than me in the party.
Need not be better or worse, but what I'm saying is, why couldn't they find an alternate face?
We had ample leaders in the party, but I don't know why I was asked, because I never requested anybody. When I'm resigning myself, I can't go and tell anybody that I want to continue, because I resigned voluntarily.
Sure, correct.
So it was the party's decision, call. They have consulted everyone. Chidambaram ji came, he spoke to everyone. Dinesh ji came, he spoke to everyone. Rahul Gandhi ji also spoke to everyone. And
talking about the party, Ginesh Babu, based on what you were saying, see, what happens is that you will agree that in 2017 the organization was pretty okay. It was built up, there were frontal units, elections were fought, and so on and so forth. Do you feel that the failure to form the government affected the party structure and organization, and it slowly withered away and could not be rebuilt?
Of course, I fully agree with you. When the cadre and your voters vote you to win the elections, and we got a single largest party. We couldn't cross the magic figure of 21. And so the BJP kept us out by using the governor's office and the home minister's office. They manipulated, they brought in a lot of money, power, they have threatened a lot of people, and so we couldn't form the government. And non-formation of the government is the biggest pain when you have the mandate with you and you can't form the government. It's a very frustrating for your voters, for your cadre, for your leaders.
Right.
So there was a complete disappointment and frustration and demoralization. When I took over in 2018, I was leading the party which the cadre was demoralized, voter was demoralized, and people were not ready to listen to us. Actually, we did not get 21. Okay? So we were depending on some other parties. But the way that money power was used that time by the central government.
You had an independent MLA from Porvorim who literally fought with the full backing of the Congress. Even he did not support you at the last moment.
Yeah, he did not come and join us.
Yes.
and he preferred to go and join the hands with BJP. Okay, so although we had a mandate of the people, we didn't had a mandate of the ruling government at center, and so we were pushed away. And
So
although,
coming-
although
coming
we were the victim, we were also accused that we're going to form the government. Actually, they robbed our mandate, and still, all of them who robbed the mandate have succeeded in accusing us of non-formation of the government. That is the biggest pain and the biggest load that I'm carrying.
Girish Bab, see, I agree. But after you took over and you knew these challenges were there and the party was suffering in a lot of pain, at that point of time, will you agree that you were unable to build the infrastructure in the grassroots, have the block committees and the booth committees? Because if, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think for almost a year after you took over, I think the working committee and the executive committee of the party was not formed. What could be the reason why that did not happen?
No, I was appointed somewhere in the May 2018, and our committee was announced on the 5th of January 2019.
So for 6 months it was not formed.
Yeah, 6 months it was not there. The committee was there because the existing committee we continued, and we could reconstitute the committee.
Okay.
So
No, but
it took some time.
no, what I'm saying is, did it, because of the demoralization, would you agree that rebuilding the structure in the different booths, in the different panchayats, in the different blocks was a challenge which has not effectively been overcome even till now?
No, we overtook it. See, because you have to build the confidence to your workers. You have to work with them. Then you have to also enthuse your voters, and that can be done only through continuous being active on the ground, through agitations, taking up the people's issue, exposing the government, which we aggressively started.
Do you feel that the MLAs that you had with you, how would you rate as a party president? How would you rate the performance of your existing MLAs? Of course, it's reduced to 3 now. Can you honestly say that they hit the ground running, took up the party's causes, and worked with you shoulder to shoulder to strengthen the party?
No, these are the MLAs who were very greedy. The day in and day out, they were only saying, we are joining, we are going, form government. Like that.
Your MLAs, your own
my
MLAs.
MLAs who left later subsequently. They themselves were not doing anything, they were not getting participated in various agitations. So it's a cadre which worked on the ground. And these party MLAs were hobnobbing all the time with the government. They don't want to displease the government, not attacking the government.
So you're saying Congress MLAs were hobnobbing with the BJP all throughout?
So those MLAs who left later on, even many of them were not forcefully worked during the parliament elections also. So, but it is the cadre which worked. So we have to parallelly activate the workers in those constituencies where we have the MLAs.
Right.
And then we charge them, and subsequently they joined the BJP for the sake of money. The BJP's money power purchased them. They surrendered themselves to Amit Shah and sold themselves, and Amit Shah purchased them. And the more demoralization happened in the party.
Okay, we are almost concluding this whole session, but as far as I'll just end up with one last question. What is your assessment for the next elections? Number one. Number two, will the Congress open to alliances? Because the call for alliances being given to everybody. The Congress also has been open to alliances. What is the Congress's position as far as alliances are concerned? And the third question is, recently Vijay Sardesai of the Goa Forward Party went to Delhi and held hands with the other Congress leaders. You were conspicuously missing from that famous hand-holding picture. So we'll start with the third part of my question first. Are you in favor of the Goa Forward aligning with the Congress? And see, did you support that?
See, it's not question what I want. I may have certain liking, I may have some disliking. I may have personal opinion anyway, any form. But it is what is needed for the party at this point of time and what the larger group is thinking. So I don't impose my thoughts or my personal liking and disliking of certain things, or maybe my thinking or my looking at a particular thing from my angle. It may be different.
As the president of the party, do you think that the Congress should align with the Goa Forward?
So it's not I'm saying what I want. It is what actually the organization wants and what is the need of the hour.
So is there a difference between what you want and the organization wants?
There is bound to be difference. So it differs from person to person. So what I look at TMC and what you look at TMC, maybe we have both of us may have personal differences, but it depends on how you look at it and how I look at it. So that person, and what Goa looks at it. So these are the three things. It's a my side, your side, and the reality. What we normally, the truth, normally we say. So I come out of that picture and I see what everyone is thinks and everyone wants. So tomorrow party decides, the larger group majority decides to go forward with the Goa Forward. So I have to be part of that decision. So there is no two ways about it.
Okay, my first two questions, sir, how many kind of seats are you giving the Congress? How do you feel it's going to pan out? And how many constituencies will the Congress ultimately contest?
See, we have the strength to contest from all the 40 constituencies.
Right.
Now, of the 40 constituencies, definitely we are in a fight in around 33 to 24 seats very strongly. Okay. We know that a lot of poaching is happening to our leaders, very conscious. People can come and brainwash them, saying that they will get a ticket, they will finance them, all the sort of things happening. We are aware of it.
But you've given tickets to about, not given, you promised tickets to about three to four candidates in most constituencies we see. Whether you promise tickets or whatever, we see that all over in the Congress, the confusion is that nobody knows who the candidate will be, because you've gone and promised tickets to 2 or 3 people in each constituency. How do you manage that?
See, our funda is very clear. It's not like what BJP is doing, what TMC is doing, what other parties are doing. We never promise a ticket to anybody when they join. Now the Tony is the example which I gave in Benauli. He came with a large group. He said he's ready to join with 2,000-3,000 people, but only I have to promise them. I said, as far as promise of ours is the national party, we have the process in place. It's only through process we finalize the candidates. So none of the leader, if somebody comes and tells you that somebody has promised the ticket, on your camera you can record it and you can show it to anybody. We never commit ticket to anybody in any form. Directly, indirectly, we cannot, because.
But you just told them to work.
We said you join. We have a various assessment. We have the normal neutral survey. We do it in Goa. We do it in from Delhi and around 4 or 5 places. Various mechanism takes place. What people of that constituency wants. So if the people of constituency prefers X, and if all the surveys and all the reports indicate that X is good, then all will try to fall in, try to centralize around him, and we'll try to convince the others that he's the best among. Let's put all the energy behind it. So, in our party process is complicated. We have around 5,000 people who take part in the decision of ticket distribution. It's not like other parties. Although many parties are national, but only one person take a decision, and the tickets are just promised at the entry, and then subsequently, if the better candidate comes, they say no. Now your ticket is gone. The ticket is to be given to that person. So we don't promise tickets to anybody. They come, they work, they mingle with this. Now who have gone are those who have joined 5 months back, 6 months back, for the ticket.
So they are moving out, you saying?
Because these are like a tourist who have come with some intention of a ticket. Okay. So they feel that they themselves might have realized that there is a better candidates than them, and they may not get a ticket. So some of them just want to contest.
Right.
So, but we tell them we have to contest to win. Not to just sake of contesting.
So, okay, to end the interview with just one final question. What is Girish Chodonkar's prediction for the Congress in the next coming elections?
It's very difficult for Girish Chodankar to predict because those machines of predictions are not available, unfortunately, with the Congress party. That machines are.
But based
very
on
well-
your preparations and your candidates.
that's I'm coming to that. So those machines are best available with the BJP. They give you the figures, how many seats they will. Last time also they predicted they will win 26 seats, and ultimately they landed winning 13 seats. So our trust and confidence is on people of Goa.
Right.
The people of Goa have decisively decided that they want to reject BJP and they have to bring Congress, who has always worked for the betterment of Goa. And by listening to the voice of people of Goa, we have cancelled SEZ, we have cancelled regional plans. When they protest, we respond. When they raise their voice, we listen to their voice. So people feel among all that Congress is the best party who has deep-rooted connect to the Goans. We are here serving right before liberation. The Congress party is the only party which were working with the Goans before the liberation. We were contributed for the liberation of the Goa. Thereafter, granting Goa the statehood, the language of Goa that want, and we have participated in the progress that we have made in Goa, and we understand what the language of Goa.
Okay.
And so our connect is deep rooted, and as I said, the ideology of Goa and ideology of Congress, it matches. The other parties are just trying to impose themselves on people of Goa. But one thing is that Goans don't easily accept outsiders. That has been the history of Goa. Wherever Goan go and stay, he proudly says that I'm Goan. Nobody from other states who comes here, they are proud of their state. If Goan is there in West Bengal, he will say I'm a Goan. If Goan is in say Madhya Pradesh, he will say I'm Goan. But those people from those states who live in Goa also proudly say that I'm Goan.
Right, right.
But this thing you don't find anywhere. Even if our person is in America or in Australia, he will be proud to say that I'm Goan, because he's deeply connected to the motherland.
Thank you, Girishpa, for all your thoughts and on pontificating on various issues. We had difference of opinion, we've argued, but that's what a healthy debate and a Q&A is. This election, the coming election, there are going to be parties in the fray. They'll all be fighting to gain their political foothold. And at the end of the day, the interesting part is, irrespective of where parties are from, the candidates will be from Goa and the voters are going to be from Goa, and ultimately let Goans decide the fate of their future. It is in their hands, and ultimately we must leave it to the people, and we wish all the parties all the very best in the coming elections. Thank you.
Thank you.